All right. Uncle Freezie looking into the camera. And then he says, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface, he's calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking now, and everybody's joking. Snap back to reality. Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? This is number one Chief Rockin' Knicks Universe. Your main man, Uncle Freezie. I am joined by Queen B, BK Steph of Dope Soul Sports Talk. You are now in the neighborhood. You rock it with the dynamic duo. Get that energy up. Queen B, how you doing today?
Oh man, feel good, Freezie. Always a pleasure to chomp it up with you. Looking forward to what you got for me. We didn't
All
talk
right.
about it ahead of time, so I have no idea.
Nah, because I got so much stuff. I got so many things that I'd like to talk about. So many things, though, need some time. We should probably wait on a few things and let a few things play out. But I'm excited for one. I'm excited to be in the neighborhood, rocking with y'all again. Y'all, welcome. Everybody in the chat, welcome to the neighborhood. This joint, this venture with BK Steph, the Queen B, Queen BK, and myself. Queen B, listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you, right? So I'm in this mindset where at the beginning of this Miami Heat series, I was like, yeah, Knicks in 3. And then we lose game 1. And I'm like, oh, snap. We might lose this game. We might lose this series in 7. And then we win game 2. We scrap out game 2. And now we're on our way to Miami. Right. We on our way to Miami. And I'm trying to figure out something. I've been trying to talk to basketball heads, like people that actually play the game. I've been trying to figure out, this thing in my mind. Queen B, where is Emmanuel Quickly?
Yeah, I mean he's not here, and not just in the Miami series, the entire playoffs. He wasn't there in the Cleveland, series as well. I mean, he's had, good defensive moments. He's been pretty consistent defensively. He's had moments and when he's hit a timely shot here and there, but the presence that many thought he would have in the playoffs, he just hasn't had it.
He just hadn't had it, right?
Mm-mm.
You know what? Okay, so I have the tendency to overthink some things at times, and it's only because I understand that, like in real life, sports can be layered. Like everything is not topical when it comes to sports topics. Chat. When it comes to sports topics, sometimes we can't sleep on top of the covers. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you got to peel things back and kind of get into it. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those deals with Emmanuel Quickly. When I see him play, my mindset is defensively, he's a team player. Offensively, he wants to be the hero. Like he knows a payday and stuff is coming up, right? He knows he's being watched on the grand stage, right? I think he knows these things. I think he understands the moment. But my thing with Emmanuel
Which
Quickly
moment?
is, yeah,
Which
yeah,
moment did he understand? The Knicks moment and winning the series, or his payday moment?
right. That's what I'm getting to. That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. Like a lot of things, there are things bubbling beneath the surface. Like you can't. My thing is, I think Emmanuel Quickly loves playing for the Knicks, and I think he loves playing for the Garden. I think this young fella wants to be the star of the New York Knicks, and you could kind of feel it at times. Like when we were in the game against Miami in game 1, the game we lost,
Mm-hmm.
when we were down, I think we were down 5, and he came down and shot that 3 with like 20 seconds left on the shot clock, trying to cut the lead to 2 because
Mm-hmm.
the Knicks had been chopping at the lead. I think we cut the lead from like 8 or cut the lead from like 10 to 5. And he knew if he hit that shot, that could cut that lead to 2, the Heat would have called a timeout and the cameras would have been on him and all that stuff, right? But I think what's being lost here by Emmanuel quickly is man, those moments have to be organic. They
Right.
can't be generated.
Right.
Only a few people that have ever existed, only a few people that have ever existed and did stuff on a grand stage have ever been able to create moments that make you feel something like Jordan's shot on Elo. That
Right.
shot on Elo was a great moment, not because Jordan wanted to do something, it's because the Chicago Bulls needed that bucket to win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or like Dr. King on the Pettis Bridge, in Alabama. He stopped all that big crowd that was in front of state troopers that was ready to put those nightsticks on them. He stopped them to pray, and the entire world's media watched that man stop all those people to pray and watch prayer come over not only the people that were about to come across the bridge, but the violators that worked for the government too.
Right.
Everybody felt that moment, right? So if you're quickly, you have to understand that you can't generate moments. You have to understand the moment is bigger than yourself. So what I'm saying to about Emmanuel quickly is you have to understand that at this point of the season, everything is about team. Everything, everything is about team. Not just it's not like a random Tuesday night against Denver and you go on a 7-0 run and then
Right.
all of a sudden this thing is, you take the lead by one. It's not that. Because quickly, if you miss that shot and they get a long rebound and then you go down and score, now they have a 2-possession game. And guess what happened?
Right. Right.
That's exactly what happened.
Right.
Right?
Do you think though that's been his motivation the entire series, or it was just that possession?
Um, I think that's his thing. I think he wants to show up big in the playoffs. The entire playoffs. You saw it against Cleveland, some plays. You're like, why are you shooting the ball right there? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And close every possession and chat. Listen, y'all. I listen. I'm not getting ready to sing the ABC song to y'all. I know y'all are smart, right? I know y'all are smart. I'm not getting ready to sing the ABC song, but in the playoffs, every possession is valuable. You can't waste possessions in the playoffs.
Right. Right. But not just that. If you want to have your great moment, it's not one shot. Is what you put together over the course of a game, over the course of a series. Look at RJ Barrett. It wasn't one shot
Right.
where he made his impact.
Right.
It's just throughout the course of the game, just stacking points, stacking rebounds, stacking assists, making good passes over the course of a game, over the course of a series. That's how you make your impact. Listen, quickly can hit the game winning shot when we play Miami on Saturday. That's great.
Right.
But you not to me, I'm looking for performances. I'm not looking for a great shot.
Right.
I'm looking for consistent performance game in and game out. We're not getting that from him.
No, we're no. Offensively, we are not getting that from him. Um, I did see a spark in him in the fourth quarter of game 2 when his shot was off and Tibbs looked at him and just went over to get Jalen Brunson off the bench early and
Mhm,
then quickly rolled off like 5 or 6 straight points. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like 7 or 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter,
mhm.
and it was a close game. I think we may have been up by one or down by one or something like that, and quickly just wasn't giving it to him. So he
Right.
like Brunson. I know I said 6 minute mark. We got to get you out here at the 8 minute mark. I know it's 2 minutes early, but quickly ain't
Mhm.
doing that. And then quickly rolled off, like quickly started going to the basket and started hitting his floater when he saw Jalen Brunson at the scorer's table.
Right.
But with that sense of urgency, in my opinion, that sense of urgency has to prevail for the next few weeks. It can't just be like, you feel your mortality a little bit, and then you're like, well, if I don't perform, he's gonna take me out of here. You
Right.
have to have the mindset that if you don't perform, the entire team may be out of here.
Right. What do you, well, we could talk about that separately. Wh- What do you think the issue is? Because it seems to me that he's having a hard time finding his place in this offense, which I don't quite get because he's been playing in this offense all season. Like he just looks off. It's not just, quickly is taking the shots he's usually taking. He's just missing
Right.
them. That's not even it.
Right.
It seems more than that to me.
You think? Do you think that has to do with something to do with Josh Hart starting over Grimes and throwing their chemistry off a little bit?
It could be, I mean, it could be, that second, but listen, even in the first few games in the playoffs, unless you just want to chalk it up to it's the first few games in the playoffs, when Grimes was in the starting lineup and that second unit was intact, quickly didn't look like quickly, you know. But yeah, I mean, to your point, it is possible that the second unit, is a little different. But I think Josh Hart still runs with that second unit as well.
Right.
You know, I think this is just a quickly thing, and I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it's a quickly thing, but I think we can win this series without him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We definitely.
I think if he's, obviously if he plays the way we know he can play, our chances of winning are better.
Right.
But one of the things that we're getting that we didn't hope for, or that many of us didn't hope for, was the play of RJ Barrett, who's pretty much replaced quickly,
Right.
in terms of being the third best player and option on this team.
Right.
But
Right.
and Josh Hart has stepped it up. So yeah, I mean, listen, we can win without quickly. Would it be harder and tougher? Yeah. Is it easier if he plays the way? Yeah.
I think we can definitely win without his offense. Got to have his defense though. Got to have it because Jalen Brunson's defense in these 7 games has been terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing short of awful.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Jalen Brunson probably will admit to that because there's no way a guy named Gabe Vincent and Kyle Lowry should be averaging 38 points a game in a series or something close to that. I know they have to replace Tyler Hero's production, and I get that, right? But that wasn't the case against Milwaukee, right? They got production in from other areas. I will say this too. I will say this, and it's kind of like 2 or 3 points that I want to kind of separate, and they all go together.
Mm-hmm.
They all go together, but at the same time, they're individual pieces. For one, the Knicks should be looking to penetrate the Miami Heat's defense. That's something I think Emmanuel quickly should be taking advantage of, getting into the lane, throwing up that floater. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. Once you add, and this is basketball talk, y'all. So if I sound basketball-y, pardon me, and just like I'll. But when you put Bam Adebayo in the pick and roll, who is their weak side shot blocker? If you're
Right.
telling me Kevin Love is their weak side shot blocker, Caleb Martin is their weak side shot blocker, rim protector, when Bam is in the pick and roll, that's not acceptable to me. That's totally nobody. You can't convince me that Kevin Love is all of a sudden a good rim protector, weak side shot blocker if Bam Adebayo is in the pick and roll by the Knicks.
Right.
I just can't see it. And I think for that reason, they try to zone, right? They try to zone up because
Mm-hmm.
they know that when you go to Bam is a good weak side shot blocker, he is not a good rim protector when you take the ball straight to him, kind of like
Right.
Evan Mobley. Like if
Right.
if they can come to the ball and block it, they're good. But in their chest, they're not really effective like that. Like Mitch can do that. You know what I'm saying? Brooke Lopez can do that. But the smaller centers, that's not really their, or I'm sorry, not smaller, but the shorter centers, that's not really their thing. I think that quickly needs to stop chucking those threes and look at getting into the point because 3 2-pointers and 2 3-pointers are still 6 points.
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about Quick, man. I just feel like he's
You
just
washing your
been.
hands of Quickly already?
Well, I just think this is not his playoffs, you know. And some guys it takes some time, but you know, he's supposed to be somebody that looks at film, you know. So hopefully, you know, he's looking at film and seeing where he, you know, would be most effective and be able to get his shot off. But what I'm saying, Freezy, is he looks off. This
Yes.
is not just about missing shots. This
Off
is about
nervous?
somebody who doesn't even look like he knows what he should be doing on the offensive end. Like, what's my role on the offensive end? Where do I get my shots? You know, he just doesn't look the same. You know,
Okay,
but so I
so
hear what you're saying. You know, in the pick and roll, he should be able to get downhill, get his floater off.
right,
You know, in the lane. You know, they know that they went to a zone. Now he has to try to figure out where he's going to get his shots off the zone is easy. Catch and shoot.
right, right.
When that ball
Yeah.
comes out to you, catch and shoot. You know, but I'm not going to say I'm disappointed in him because, you know, some guys, it takes them, some guys, like I said before, like Josh Hart, come in right off the back, they make their impact felt. Other players, they need a series or two or a season or two, and quick. It's looking like he need a season or two
Right.
before he can round into playoff shape. He's just not looking good. And we'll talk about this in the off season, but that contract, in my opinion, is drastically lower based on his
Mhm.
performance in the playoffs. I think had the Knicks not went to the playoffs, he would have got paid just based on his regular season. Um,
Right,
but the Knicks got massive leverage um, based on his play in
right.
the postseason.
Okay. So chat, y'all see how Queen BK and Uncle Freezie has synergy. I started out the show with a verse from B Rabbit from that movie 8 Mile about how the moment gets too big for a super talented person. So even if you have talent, the moment might just be too big. I saw it off the joint. You know, palms are sweaty. Mom spaghetti, all of that. The thing from 8 Mile, right? Lose yourself. And Queen B just stated this whole thing about quickly, and it's the same thing. It's just like like-minded people, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
expressing this whole. We saw the same thing two different ways, right?
Right.
The thing about quickly, the thing about quickly, and I don't know if it's just him, but the thing about quickly per se in this series is I think what has happened to him is during the regular season, 82 game marathon, teams fly into a city, they got tape on the opposing team. They like, yeah, quickly be in at such and such mark. Don't let them get going, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But now Eric Spoelstra is game planning for Emmanuel Quickly.
Right.
So it's one thing when every night you play in a different team, city to city, all these different things. You play a different team every night. People just go up there, throw a general synopsis up there, just try to stop him from going, try to stop Quickly from going right.
Right. Right.
When he goes left, he's gonna pull up. He'd like to pull up for three. In a 7-game series where your mortality is on the line, is either win or go home.
Right.
And everybody's thirsty, and Eric Spoelstra has 2 or 3 days in between games to draw up a game plan for the same person they saw 2 days ago.
Right.
Now we talking about Emmanuel Quickly looking like B Rabbit.
Yeah.
And Spoelstra's a championship level coach. He
No
knows
doubt.
what he's doing.
No doubt. How much of it though is game planning Freezy, and how much of it is quickly being on self check?
Is it could one thing lead to another?
Yeah.
Could the
Yeah.
game planning have led to the self check?
Yeah. Like I just know I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do against this team. So what? I'm not going to be aggressive, you know?
Wow, I'm I'm thinking part of that is it because um until game 1 against Miami, they didn't know what it felt like to be behind in the series.
Right.
Miami beating them, that's a punch on the chin. Because in the Cleveland series, we bust out the gate and won the first game. So there was like margin for error.
Right.
You could try some things. If it fails, it's okay. So it might not go. It might not go 4 games. It might go 5. Miami come and beat you in your house. All of a sudden, you got to win game 2 because you can't go to Miami down 2 games to 0 going into their house.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're looking at quickly. It's like, okay, well, I got to step my game up. I got to step my game up. So
okay, did he though?
No. Defensively, I think he did some things. There was his transition defense was a lot better. Right. I think his transition defense was a lot better. If you remember game 1, Kevin Love would grab a rebound and just fling the ball all the way down court, home run passes over the top of Jalen Brunson and Obi Toppin. I'm still baffled to this day how Jimmy Butler jumped up and caught a Hail Mary pass from Kevin Love over Obi Toppin when both of them were standing there. I think
I don't know why you're surprised.
Oh.
I don't know why. Listen, it's even. If you could ask anybody, if anything is even. I don't care if you're playing jacks. I don't care if you're playing Skelly. If it's even, and it's between Jimmy Butler and Obi Toppin, Jimmy Butler is gonna get it.
You said jacks just now. It reminded me of the streets of Jersey City back in the 70s.
And Skelly. Remember Skelly? You got to get that, waiting for that last cup of milk so you can get that top.
Yes.
Your wax on it and scrape it on the ground.
Something like this. Something like this right here.
For real. For real.
Hey, shout out to New York. Shout out to the New York tri-state area, man.
No doubt.
All I'm gonna say is there were times where we might not have had all the finer things like people uptown may have had. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm just gonna just leave that right there. You know what I'm saying?
But let me say this though, because I think this is what sums up Quickly's performance thus far. If you didn't know anything about the Knicks and you turned on the TV, you would say, wow, the Knicks got a few energy guys.
Right.
Quickly, Grimes, McBride, when he gets in, they got a lot of energy guys.
Right.
And if you're a Knicks fan and you've been watching for 82 games, you'd be like, nah, that one right there, he was in the running for 6th man of the year. That one right there was our 4th leading scorer at 15 points per game, but was probably our 3rd best player. And the people like, this one right here,
right?
He looked like an energy guy to me,
right?
And I think that sums up the series for the Knicks. I mean, sums up Quickly series in this playoffs. His play in the playoffs,
right? Because the reason why, and I'm glad you say that because at the beginning of the series, I joked, and I probably shouldn't have. You should probably always respect your opponent. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm from New Jersey, so it's part of this tri-state swag is that you think it's New York over everybody, right? Regardless of who the opponent is, right?
Right.
So when I heard names like Gabe Vincent and Highsmith and Duncan Robinson and I forget the other guy, Max Strus, and Caleb Martin. You know what I'm saying? Cody Zeller. I'm thinking they wouldn't even be rotation guys for anybody else, right? This is what I'm thinking in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But as I learned in game 1, talent doesn't always win championships.
Okay,
right? Just talent doesn't always win, right? You have to have that team has experience. They've been there and done that, and they are hungry. And I mean hungry in a wolf type way, not hungry in a baby needing a baba type of way. It's not that. You know what I'm saying? It's two totally different things. Those dudes, the Miami Heat are coming out like wolves. You know what I'm saying? They are hungry. They're on the prowl. And us, the Knicks, We have a very, very, very young team,
Right.
and a couple of our older guys, Josh Hart, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, come in a little bit dinged up and injured. So now,
Mhm.
depending on our young guys that are absolutely well, except for Grimes, our young guys that are mostly healthy, we're depending on them. They can't perform on this stage yet because
Right.
they're green.
Right.
You know,
Which was my concern coming into the playoffs.
right? Playoff
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Playoff experience, particularly behind Randall and Brunson, who I thought would play well, but I thought teams would game plan to kind of take them out of the game. And then now we relying on these young guys to kind of step up and bring us home, so to speak. Thank goodness for Josh Hart and RJ Barrett, because I
Especially
think
RJ.
we was
Yeah.
expecting more from Quick, and some of the fan base was expected more from Grimes. I really wasn't.
I'm
Um,
expecting everything from Grimes. I ain't gonna lie to you.
in going headed into the playoffs.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm expect. Grimes, in my opinion, is a playoff. He is a playoff build, right? He's a playoff build type player. In my opinion, Grimes is not a regular season build player. Like for instance, a regular season build player is quickly. He's gonna eat against the Hornets and Nuggets and all that stuff. He's gonna have his highlights and all that stuff. But on a night to night basis, you don't necessarily know exactly what you're gonna get from quickly during the 82 game schedule because he may not show up against Charlotte and then he may put up 27, 28, 30 against the Celtics. You know what I'm saying? But Grimes, on the other hand, is going to give you that consistently physical perimeter defense, right? He's going to knock down his free throws. He's going to do all the team stuff to help you win on a nightly basis, which you need in the playoffs. You need
Hmm.
that consistency in the playoffs. In a regular season, you can deal with a hot and cold player. You know what I'm saying? But during the playoffs, you can't have that hot and cold because if he's cold, what is he going to give you in the
Right.
playoffs? Whereas Grimes gives you that consistent physical perimeter. Give you an example. I watched Bam Adebayo, and I said this on the other show, y'all, and I'm sorry about repeating myself, but I don't know if I spoke to this point with the Queen or not. But Bam Adebayo caught a pass right inside the free throw area, and he went to the rim for an uncontested dunk. Obi was right there. Obi tried to save his fouls, right? They run the same play. 3-point shooter up top. They dump it down to a big, rolling to the rim. Bam Adebayo catches it. Josh Hart sees him. Josh Hart lets him go to the rim and dunk. Right? It's okay. Regular season, you don't want to waste fouls and you don't want to injure yourself or the opponent. Right? They run it again. Quentin Grimes sees it. Quentin Grimes nails Bam Adebayo at the rim. Like, hey, you got to shoot these free throws, big boy. That's the playoff mindset that I'm talking about. Like Grimes is like, nah, bro, you got to earn these free throws. You ain't just gonna be up here dunking on every. No, you got to earn these. And the reason why it impressed me because I saw two of our veteran guys. Obi is a veteran now. He's not a young player no more. I saw Obi and Josh Hart allow that to happen, go to the rim, and then I saw Grimes watch the Miami Heat foul Mitch. Every time Mitch got the same opportunity, they fouled Mitch and made Mitch go to the free throw line and shoot them laser beam free throws at the rim. Right? And while Bam Adebayo hit both of those free throws, the next time they tried to run that play, Bam didn't roll to the basket. So it's like now if we had just done that earlier, would they have gotten those other 3 or 4 opportunities?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I appreciate Grimes. The little thing, the dude is a smart type player. I think he's a playoff type player. And I'm not knocking Josh Hart and knocking Obi, but in the playoffs, you have to earn everything in the playoffs, right? And you letting people go to the rim and dunking, that's not playoff basketball.
I mean, I agree with that, but in the big scheme of things, Obi and Josh Hart has showed up 1,000 times more than
Right.
Grimes.
Then Grimes. Right.
In the big scheme of things.
Right. Right.
I think the lights is a bit too big for him too. Now, in all fairness, he's
For
not
Grimes or
getting
Obi?
for Grimes. I think, in all fairness, though, Grimes is not getting a lot of shot attempts at the basket.
Right.
You know, I think he had 3 shot attempts last game. Um, yeah, he's probably averaging. I haven't looked at it, but he probably just averaging like maybe 3 to 5 shots a game. So, in all fairness, you know, but that listen, the Knicks needed the dependable shooters, you know, and we can get into that in the off season. The Knicks need dependable shooters, and I think Grimes will be that. And I'm not looking at his scoring. I'm not looking at his shooting average. If you look at his averages are good. I'm talking about timely shots, them wide open shots in the moments in which we need them. They
Right.
need dependable knockdown shooters, and I think he will be that, but he ain't that right now. And it's
No.
and I think we have that. This is not even a series. We have dependable 3-point shooters together with what we have in the rim, those who can operate in the paint. I mean, it's a different series.
Now we talking, right? Now we
Now
talking.
we talking. Pick your
Right.
poison.
Right.
Which
And
one
you
you
know,
want to take away?
and you know what um the impressive part of this, right, is RJ Barrett has been creating a lot of looks. These 2 games against Miami,
Absolutely.
RJ Barrett has been creating a lot of open looks for guys, and they're passing those looks up for better shots, and then not knocking those shots in.
Right. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
talked to this. This was a point that was brought up to my attention by IKBM Dre, and I noticed it some, but I wasn't
Mhm.
keeping track of it. So he brought it up to my attention in game 1 and game 2. I paid attention to it. RJ creates a lot of shot opportunities, but this pass up a good shot for a great shot thing, and then getting that great shot and not knocking it down makes me think, like, should we just be aggressive? Should we just take the first look that we get? Because the one thing that I notice that frustrates all of us, everybody in this Knicks content creation space and Knicks universe, they say the Knicks can't shoot. And is it because we're not being aggressive with the shots that we take, passing up a good shot for a great shot for a fantastic shot? Or is it that the skill level, or are we overrating the skill of the players that we have?
I mean, listen, if I just don't think we have those types of shooters. So, for example, if you got a Buddy Hield and then you got a RJ Barrett, and Buddy Hield is trying to make the right play, and he's a little open, and RJ Barrett is really open, and he moves it on to RJ Barrett, I have a problem with that. I mean, yeah, technically that's the right play. RJ Barrett is, more open than you are, but you're the better shooter. Take
Right.
that shot, right?
Take that shot.
But
Yes.
with the Knicks, is that what's happening? Like, who are our better shooters, and are they passing it to worse shooters?
Right.
Is that's what's happening when they passing it around the horn? I'm not so sure. I would have to look at that. I mean, I guess if Brunson has it and he's a little open and he's passing it off to a RJ Barrett or a Josh Hart, yeah, I would agree with that. I
Right.
take it. Take it. But if
Right.
you got a RJ Barrett passing it to a Josh Hart, like, yeah, all right, whatever.
What are we doing? And that happens because of our personnel groupings. We don't have that Buddy Hield, like you mentioned. So we don't have, Klay Thompson. We don't have a knockdown deadly 3-point shooter on the floor with
Correct.
those guys. We just don't. And quite honestly, without the Jalen Brunson is our best 3-point shooter this year, right? And who saw that coming into the season? Nobody.
Right.
Right. But just like we mentioned, this is like the 3rd year in a row. Point guards that come to play for Tibbs outside of Elfrid Payton, because Elfrid Payton is just not a. But for the most part, point guards that come play for Tibbs, they get some type of natural 3-point boost, like whether it's shot selection or emphasis on certain shots.
Right.
But even Derrick Rose was close to shooting 40% one year with Tibbs as a Knick. And you're like, Derrick Rose, he don't even like to shoot the three.
Right.
Right? But Jalen Brunson was a 36% three-point shooter. Came here, shot 41% this year.
Right.
RJ Barrett, first year with Tibbs, 40% from three. Julius Randle, first year with Tibbs, 40% from three. Right? So it's making me think that Quickly and Grimes, I don't know. I think basically their shooting is suspect in my eye. And I
Listen,
don't
Freezy,
think it's short
don't
term. I
start
think it's
no
a long
mess.
term thing.
Don't
It's not
start no
short term.
mess with the Grimes high when you start talking about that his shot is suspect.
Hey, well, how's it been looking though?
Listen, Freezy. I've been saying this all season. There's a difference between you can't. His form is good, and a lot of people are saying he's a good shooter based on his form or based on his
Right.
percentages. But a percentage is an average.
Right.
I'm looking at every single game and these timely shots that we need that are wide open.
Right.
That at this point in his career, he has not been able to hit consistently. Listen. He hasn't played 2 years. I keep saying this. He hasn't played 2 years worth of games. So I get it. I'm
Right.
not down on him.
Right.
I'm just saying that's what the Knicks need. A dependable shooter who can knock down those timely shots. We rolling out the Bam Bam quintet. When you look at the starters on the Knicks, they Bam Bams. Just these
Right.
rough, tough, physical,
Right.
guys. Brunson is
Right.
probably none of them are finesse guys in that starting lineup, right?
Right.
Maybe Brunson would be the closest one as far as shooting is concerned. But these are
Right.
like rough, tough, physical guys that want to go downhill and bang you up and bruise you up and get
Right.
get baskets that way. That's the
1 through
type of
5.
starting lineup we have, particularly
Right.
with Hart in there over Grimes.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. It's to me, it's the Luther Vandross theory, right? I'm not talking about Grimes down the road. I'm talking about, like Luther Vandross said, here and now. We're talking about in this moment. In this moment, this is what we're talking about Grimes. I'm not talking about his perspective in 5 years, because I think he'll be one hell of a player in 5 years.
No
But
doubt.
I'm talking about as of what we're looking for today. As what we're looking for today, these guys are not necessarily. And but the thing about it is, we kind of see that spark that we feel like if that spark can just catch, somebody will be on fire, right? If that spark can, it like those threes from Quickly, they do like this weird thing, and Tibbs is like, yo, he got to keep shooting, he got to keep shooting, he got to keep shooting, and so we're like, man. If only Grimes can see 2 of those things in a row go down, then what do we have, right? But while we
It's
wait
over.
on that, Queen Bee, while we wait on those shots to go in and out, you know what those shots are? They're misses. You feel me? Like we wait with bated breath, like, oh man, that one almost went in. In the grand scheme of things, it's a missed shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the thing about that is I get it. The perspective thing, Grimes Quickly down the road, I understand. I get it. But how's that going to help us game 3 in Miami?
Right. Listen, and even RJ, in terms of perimeter shooting, he had 4 threes. Like if RJ Barrett is hitting catch and shoot threes, you're not going to hear me talking about how the Knicks need perimeter shooting at both the 2 and the 3 spot, because that's what I'm saying now, right?
Right.
But you just don't know
Do
if you're going to
do
get
you
that.
need 3-point shooting or the threat of it? That's one thing I always want to kind of
Nah.
clear with you.
Well, I mean, the threat of it helps in the sense that it opens up, it opens up the lane. So I get it. But at some point, you actually need them to knock down shots,
Right.
because we need the points.
We need
we need the
them.
actual points.
Yes. And so one of the things also, the reason why we put emphasis on it is because we don't get scoring from the 5. We
Right.
don't get scoring from the 5. So when you don't get scoring from the 5 and you don't get scoring from the 2, now you're like, I got to get all my scoring from the 1, the 3, and the 4.
Right.
So now we're super critical of RJ. We're super critical of Randall, super
That's a good
critical of
point.
Obi, super critical of Quickly, super critical of Brunson. Everything they do is live or die because we don't get consistent offense from the 2 and the 5 on a nightly basis.
That is true. Now that's changed with Josh Hart in there, but Josh Hart is not I mean, percentage wise, he's a good shooter, from three. I don't know if I would
Right,
consider him like, a knockdown shooter, but
right,
when you look at this series, you got Grimes, who's known as the shooter, and
right,
Josh Hart, who's not known as like a 3-point shooter. He can shoot. But
right,
when you look at the results, Josh Hart is the one that's doing it.
right. Because Grimes it has the and I don't know. I think we gave Grimes the reputation as a sniper. I don't think Grimes has earned the reputation as a sniper.
Right.
Right? And then Josh Hart, it has the reputation of a do what it takes guy to help a team win. So if it calls for knocking down that 3, he'll knock it down, but he's not looking for it.
Right.
You,
Right.
you
And
know what I'm
that's the
saying?
difference. He's not looking. That's a good distinction, Freezy. It's not something he's looking for.
Right. Right. Yeah. I agree with you on that, Queen Bee. And then here's another thing too that I'm interested at in how good can Hartenstein be?
Freezy, what's your guy's name? The
EG
guy who came on the
14,000?
show.
EG 14,000?
We
Man,
haven't
I at the beginning of the season when Grimes was looking like dog crap, man, I cussed it. I went to that dude page I found that dude. Don't you never come around here with no mess like this. Yeah, I can't help it. It's in my DNA.
Right,
You
right.
troll. And you know what I'm saying? So EG 14,000, man, my apologies. You know what I'm saying? I can't help it. I'm a Knicks fan. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
But when Hartenstein was back in November, when Hartenstein was looking like puppy poo, boy, I found EG
To say the least.
14,000. I was like, man, you. So EG 14,000, if you watch it, I officially apologize to you. Hartenstein, he's
Yeah.
not Jokic like you said, but he is a quality NBA player.
No doubt about it. But you wonder, would Jokic be Jokic if there wasn't a coach who saw something and just believed in him enough to
Cultivated
just,
it.
cultivated it. What
Yeah.
can Isaiah Hartenstein be if he found a coach like that would cultivate it? Um, it's hard to say, but I think Hartenstein can be better than he's only 24. This guy is
Right.
not old. He's
No, he's not
24
old.
years old,
No,
right?
he's pretty young. Yeah.
So he can get better. He hasn't reached his ceiling either.
Yeah.
Listen,
Matter of fact, he turned 25 today. It's today,
oh, he
May
turned
4th.
25 today. Well, happy birthday, iHeart. Appreciate
Oh,
you.
you know what? I didn't even say it.
What?
Chat. May the 4th be with you for all the Star Wars fans out there. Star Wars fans, may the 4th be with you. I forgot to say it. My bad. And then, 420 came, and I was like, 421. I'm like, yo, I ain't even say my 420 joke. So chat, may the 4th be with you. My bad,
Yeah.
y'all. My bad, Queen Bee, for getting off the rails. My bad.
Yeah. I think with iHeart, if he can start shooting the three, he don't even got to make it at a great percentage. Even if he makes it at 30%, I'm happy with that. But I would like to see him, yeah, for sure. I would like to see him shoot the three. And I would like to see on that second team, we see it sometimes where the offense runs through him,
Okay.
in a sense where he's the hub,
Right.
and he's getting guys, different looks and different shots. Like similar to what Joakim Noah used to do for Chicago. So I would like to see that more. 3-point shooting, next year, I would like to see that as well. But I think he can be really, really good. Um, I think in the right situation, he can start in this league. I think he could.
What about his foul? What about his propensity to foul?
I think that's gotten better over time. I mean, there was a time in the beginning of the season during this period you're talking about. I'm like, my goodness,
Right.
right? But I think as the season has gone on, is it the same? I haven't been tracking it. Is he fouling at a high rate in the playoffs as well?
I'm not for sure. I do notice though. Well. Here's the thing. I don't go by foul rate,
Mhm.
right? Because some games, regardless who the big is going to be in foul trouble, right? Like the other, like game two against Mitch and Hartenstein was in foul trouble, so it wasn't just a
Right,
Hartenstein going off on
right,
a ledge being clumsy
right,
thing. You,
right.
you know what I'm saying? So, but what I noticed is as he got healthy, he is a better defender because he's not always a step slow. Remember how at the beginning
Right.
of the season
Oh,
it just
I
seemed like
remember it.
he was always just a step slow?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So as he's gotten healthier, I think he's gotten better with the fouling. And
Mhm.
some of the fouls that you saw him use, some of the fouls that you saw him use, I'm glad he used them.
Mm,
A blow by RJ dude coming to the rim trying to
mhm,
posterize a whole no Hartenstein, do your thing.
mhm, mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Those, I'm glad you used your foul. I'm glad you're in
Right,
foul trouble
right,
there.
right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Because for some people, I know some people are like, yo, a dunk is the same thing as a layup. I get they're both 2 points, right? But sometimes the energy that's created by a
Correct,
dunk
correct,
is just like does something to
correct.
momentum.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Yeah, yeah, boss. I am. How do you feel about Tom Thibodeau's coaching thus far in the playoffs through 7 games?
Oh, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I think what happens a lot of times is he gets too much credit when the Knicks win, and he gets too much blame when they lose. You
Right.
know, the Knicks win. Oh, Tibbs was great. He made great adjustments. Well, I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay, well, what adjustments are we talking about? Be
Right.
specific, because
Right.
at this point in the game 4 and 5 against Cleveland, what were the adjustments to make? The Knicks
Right.
had that series. I didn't see a lot of adjustments.
Right.
Then the Knicks lose a game. Oh, it's because Tibbs didn't make adjustment. And then we also have to differentiate between roster adjustments, in terms of who you bring in, and
Right.
schematic adjustments. They're not the same. You
Right.
can't put them in the same
Right.
pot. So I
Right.
think he's been doing really good. I would have liked to have seen in game one when Jimmy Butler got into foul trouble, just clear out the
The Knicks,
side,
the Knicks clear out with RJ Barrett and just work
clear
Jimmy
out with
Butler.
R because RJ
Ye-
Barrett, if you watch the game again, he was handling the ball a lot in that fourth quarter, in that final 5 minutes anyway.
Anyway,
So just
right.
clear it out. Now, I'm sure they would have adjusted. They would have sent a double team to help, to help Butler,
But that's
whatever.
what we wanted. That's what we needed, though.
It opened, and RJ Barrett, he's no longer tunnel vision, right? He's
Right.
seeing people. So I would have liked to had seen that. Um, I don't know, in the zone, I would have liked to seen that, like, that middle is open. I would really like to see somebody slide into that middle, get a pass, and just turn around and shoot it. You know
Um,
what I mean? Because
that
it's
is where I fought Tibbs at because you
yeah,
have Hartenstein for just that purpose.
and I think we waited too long, because I
Right.
remember saying, I'm like, "Yo, Mitch did that. Mitch came up to the foul line. He got the pass. He didn't even turn to the basket. Like, he didn't even know what to do
No.
with it." I said, "Look, where's Hartenstein? Like,
Where's
we're not
Hartenstein
gonna
at?
be able to break this zone. Obviously, we do need perimeter shooting, don't get me wrong, but Mitch against this zone is not working." As soon as we
Right.
put Hart in, it started to work for us on multiple
And if
levels.
you don't trust him, and my thing was, if you don't trust, here's the thing: the Miami Heat does not want to use Bam Adebayo to defend Julius Randle,
Right,
right? Because in theory, they're the same size.
right,
One
right.
6'9", 250, the other is 6'8", 250, right? So in theory, they're the same size, except Julius Randle is immensely more skilled than Bam, right? Now, defensively, Bam is a better defender than Julius Randle, right?
Right.
But for some reason, Bam cannot guard Julius Randle, right? So when
If
they
if
go
Julius
zone,
Randle takes the challenge, Freezy, he could be just as good
right, or better,
or
or better.
better.
But the point that I was going to get to though is if you're Tibbs and you see them go to that zone, why not let Randall play the 5 and be that person that creates in that short roll that can kick out to Obi in the corner for
That's a good
three,
point.
or create from that spot. And then plus, if you notice that spot that we just mentioned, Randall loves to take fadeaways and
That's his
jump
spot.
shots from that spot.
That's his spot. Yeah, I agree with you. And you don't even have to. You can put Obi in, but you can also put Barrett at the 4 if the shooting is on.
Right.
And it was
Right.
in game 2.
Yeah, there are a lot of and listen, I'm not trying to say that I'm a better strategist than Tibbs. Tibbs knows what he's doing, right? I'm not. Tibbs has won a million basketball games. He's been coach of the year twice. What I'm saying, in the heat of the moment, though, when you see certain things, bro, when you know your 3-point shot is struggling, man, why not? Why not? If you can't punch to the head, why not punch to the body? That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like
Mhm.
if you can't get headshots, why not just go to the body some, and then you open up, your outside shooting, or just eat right there, just 2-point into, because ultimately, what every NBA team wants on offense is a made basket. Now,
Right.
do they prefer threes over twos? Yes, right, because of math. Right? You don't have to be Pythagoras to understand that
Mhm.
3 has a greater value than 2, right? But the thing is you still ultimately you want to make baskets at your end of the floor.
Right.
So why not take those twos that are available? You don't have to be a 2-point shooting team, but take what they give you. Take the low-hanging fruit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing with Randall is you gotta cut in, get the pass, and pull up. You can't cut in, get the pass, and now you want to put the ball on the floor and do the things that you usually do. They just gonna collapse.
And let the defense reset. That's
Right.
the
They're
thing.
just gonna
Oh,
collapse. You just gotta cut in, get the pass, and pull up right
get on,
then.
boss lady. Get on,
Yeah.
boss lady.
Yeah.
You read my that same thing that you just said is what I was
Yeah.
getting to. Man,
Mhm.
we do this thing and then we stop the ball movement. Now the defense reset.
Right.
But now we have 0 ball movement against a set defense.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't watch the game over. When iHeart came in, wasn't he operating in that area at the free throw line? Was he
I can't remember.
on the zone? I want
I
to say
can't
he
remember.
was.
Maybe he was. Maybe
Yeah.
he was. Maybe he was. I'm not for
Yeah.
sure, but maybe he
And the
was.
thing with iHeart in that spot, well, I was gonna say with iHeart in that spot, he's gonna swing it to the shooters, but that's what they want you to do anyway on the
Right.
zone, right? They trying to keep you out of the key. They get basically giving up the shooting, the 3-point shooting anyway.
Right. 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 No doubt. No doubt. How do you feel about game 3 in Miami?
I think it's gonna be tough, but I think the Knicks can win. Listen, to me, these teams are evenly matched. I don't think it matters whether they play in New York or Miami. Either team can win in either place,
Right.
right? Um, I don't think like people are like, you know, taking game 2 and making it into an equation. Well, if we barely won without Jimmy Butler, now you add Jimmy Butler, then we're gonna lose. I don't think it doesn't work like that.
Nah,
Every game it has its
nah.
own complexities. Every game is different. And you can't just be like, well, given how we played in game 2, because everything is not going to be the same. Gabe Vincent, Strus, Khalid Martin, there's no guarantee those guys are going to play that way. So I just
Duncan
don't think you
Robinson.
can. Yeah, I just don't think you could do it that way. The Knicks can win in Miami.
Right.
I think the key is going to be the perimeter shooting because you know how we get our points. We want to get our points in the paint. We want to get our second chance points against Cleveland, something we don't usually do. We want to get points off turnovers. We want to generate points that way, taking more shots, taking more threes, whether we make them or not.
Right.
And Miami is taking some of that away from us and basically saying, we know how you like to score. But unlike Cleveland, we're going to do a better job at taking that
Hey, well,
away.
how important is that, Queen? How important is imposing your will versus taking what the defense give you?
Impose your will if you can, right? I mean, that's what
Right,
we did against
right,
Cleveland. I'm
right,
not sure. Basically, Cleveland knew what we was trying to do, to your point, but we did it anyway.
right,
I don't think Miami's pushovers like that though.
right. And they have,
No,
and they don't have as talented personnel.
they
They
don't.
don't have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in the paint,
They don't.
right?
So
But they do it. They do it by swarming. They put a bunch of dudes that can run all over the floor.
right.
And I'm not saying that Highsmith, Vincent, Struess, or Robinson are good defenders. They defend an area on the floor well, though,
Right.
right? They're not. We're not talking about like these guys. They don't have a Lou Dort, right? They don't have those type of
No.
defenders.
Right.
But defending an area, they're pretty good at it,
Correct.
right? So they're gonna contest everything. They're gonna contest your dribble. They're gonna contest your pass. They're gonna contest your shot. They're gonna contest all of these things. Everything is gonna be contested against Miami. Their culture is built around never giving an inch. That's their culture. Like at the end of game two, at the end of game two, we was up by 8. We were up by 6 with 4 seconds left to go. Eric Spoelstra called a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what that and when he did that, he was sending a message to the Knicks that regardless of what, you're gonna have to earn every inch of space that you get in this series.
No doubt.
Because I've been on the sidelines where when what I'm saying you down by 10 with what I'm saying 28 seconds left to go, and the coach is just like, man, just run it out, right? And it don't even have to be a high leverage game. Just be any type of game. Right. But in a high leverage game where you can't even afford to get injuries or whatever, Eric Spoelstra like, we down by 6. We down by 6 with 4 seconds left, 4.8 seconds left to go. We still, as long as there's time on the clock, we got a chance.
No doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's sending a message to Tibbs and everybody that everything you earned in this series, you can best believe you earned it.
Right. And I think the Knicks know that. This is a 48-minute team for sure. But back to your point of, a battle of wills versus take what they give you. They're giving us the perimeter shot.
Right.
And I think if the Knicks can hit that, they win this series. If they can't, it's going to be hard because they're taking away the other ways the Knicks like to score.
I'm here to say if the Knicks start hitting perimeter shots at team average, not even league average, whatever the Knicks average is, then the Knicks win the next 3 games straight. Right? Because Miami Heat don't have the personnel to stop Randall, Brunson, RJ playing at this level, and the supporting cast doing their part. Right?
Correct.
If Mitchell Robinson is out here 12 points, 15 rebounds, 6 of them offensive, Isaiah Hartenstein off the bench, 7 points and 9 rebounds and 2 blocks, and RJ is 22 points on 9 of 8 and 16 shooting and knocking down his free throws, and Grimes is 2 for 5 from 3, and Quickly is 3 of 7 from 3, and Obi is coming out here 10.6. We're hard to stop for any NBA team.
Correct.
When we do that. No NBA team is going to take us for granted when we do that.
Right. And that's what I said coming into the series. I said, if everybody shows up, the Knicks win this series. Right. We just have too many people. I said, the only way Miami wins is if players don't show up or Miami is able to take certain players out of the game. Right. And that still holds, if everybody shows up on the Knicks. And you don't have to be a superstar. To your point, show up and do what you do.
Right.
Just play to whatever the team averages. Whatever you do, just do that in the playoffs. The Knicks win this series.
Right. My thing
that hasn't been that's not what's happening. At least in game 1.
It's not how it and it hadn't been through that through 7 games.
Right.
Like we have not gotten everybody to show up on the same night.
Right.
Right. But my thing is how we win the series is stop the Jimmy Butler free throw parade, right?
Yeah,
And I
that's a
know,
factor. Yeah.
and I know that sounds like, well, him hitting free throws at the free throw line is the same thing as a layup. No, it's not, right? Because for one, Jimmy Butler's free throw parade is him scoring points while the clock is stopped, right? So him scoring, and then at the free throw line, as long as he's making free throws, the Miami Heat gets a chance to get back and get their defense set. On
Right.
a missed shot,
Right.
everybody's in transition,
Right.
right? So it's just and it also chips in the number of fouls to give, right? So
Right.
now you're like, oh, I got to bring in Hartenstein 2 minutes earlier than what I
Hmm.
anticipate. So
Right.
if we can stop Jimmy Butler from getting to his place and getting Jimmy But if we could stop Jimmy Butler from going 13 for 16 from the free throw line, I think we watched the Miami Heat. It's not even close.
Yeah. Well, some of that is us, and some of that is the officials. We may not have control over that.
Right. Some of it's got to be though him catching the ball on his favorite play. Kevin Love at the top of the key, catching it. You got to bring Randall all the way out because Love is a 3-point shooter. And now
Hmm.
Love just zips that pass inside to Jimmy
Hmm.
Butler underneath the rim with Hart or Barrett guarding him down there, and then them not fouling.
Right.
So some of that has got to be that, but if you pay attention to that, what that does is open up the wing threes from those guys. If you try to block that lane, your defenders can't be on the outsides too, with Strus and Duncan Robinson on either side of the floor, looking for you to combat that. So
Right.
so and so with all that said, I think Tibbs is doing a great job thus far with all the things that he has to manage on with Miami's offense is, in my mind, is um simply perfect. And if that's a because you have a slasher in Butler, a big that can shoot the three, two wings that will knock down the three if it's not there, and then a scrappy point guard that can create if things break down.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. You can't have
Right.
everybody who wants to score in the key and not have people on the outside that can hit shot. And that's what makes everybody's like, oh, the Knicks perimeter defense has to be better, and it does have to be better.
Right.
But particularly when Butler is not in the game. But when he is, you're picking your poison now.
Right.
You got
Right.
guys who can get in the lane, and then you got other guys who can stand out there and shoot the three.
Right. And some of those threes that the Miami Heat hit in game one, when a guy is knocking down contested threes from 27 feet,
Yeah,
you gotta live with that. Let him have it.
yeah,
You can have that. If I'm gonna lose the game because you out here shooting contested threes from 27 feet, and I'm specifically talking about the point guard, the dude with the cornrows, when he is knocking down threes from 27 feet, I just got to listen. Hey man, you better than me today. You can hey, you got it. You got it. I just need for you to do that 7 straight games. If you do that 7 straight games, we deserve to be at home because y'all the better team. That's my mindset on it, right? But at the same time, if you're Grimes and Quickly, bro, how come they can shoot and y'all can't? You feel me, Queen B?
Are you
Like,
gonna go the undrafted route? How come they can do it and they're undrafted and you can't do it? Are you gonna go that route?
we'll have to do something. We'll have to do something, right? We'll have to do something. I mean, yeah, because ultimately you can't keep drafting first round picks and then get here and when your first round picks need to do something, they don't show up.
Right. But doesn't Grimes get a pass being that this is his second year, first time in the playoffs?
First time. Yeah. No, no. The thing with Grimes is I'll say this about Grimes. So Grimes, I'm willing to give Grimes. I can't give him a pass because ultimately in a team game everybody has to contribute. But in terms of overall responsibility, I would say Josh Hart has to have more responsibility because he's a veteran,
Right.
even though Grimes has been here longer.
Right.
but you brought Josh Hart in here to be this.
Right. And he hasn't disappointed.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're in a pretty good place. One last topic though before we get out of here, right? I
Mm-hmm.
just want to ask this. What do you say to those that had the weird Julius Randle narrative about Julius Randle and the Atlanta Hawks series from 2 years ago? Is it time for those folks to apologize to Randle?
I don't know about apologize, but if you're still holding on to the narrative that he doesn't perform in the playoffs, I think you got to let that go. Yeah,
Right.
I think
Right.
you got to let that go.
So I gotta, as I was preparing for this, as the official, as the team president of the Randaliers, I have to pound my chest a little bit and say that for all of you Randall haters, take that, take that, take that. Right? Randall has proven, with Randall and without Randall, we see that Randall is a very, very integral part of or important piece to this Knicks team going forward,
No doubt.
because you see what we are without Randall, and I don't know if we like what we are without Randall.
But Freezy, there's a lot of the fan base that would disagree with you. There's a
Of
lot of the
course,
fan base that would say in the Cleveland series when Randall didn't play, Obi played well, and he did. I'm not taking anything away from Obi Toppin. And in I think game one when he had 18 and 8,
right.
starting in place of Randall, and would argue that, when Randall came back in game two, he should not have played 38 minutes.
He should not
That
have played 38
yeah,
minutes.
that Obi Toppin has proven that he deserves more minutes, and with Randall returning, Obi Toppin should have gotten more than 10 or 11 minutes. So I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you, but I don't think the fan base, many in the fan base, would agree with that. I think they would still think that there
I
was
think
some
they
saying if
bugging.
Randall doesn't
We
play in
got
the
them on tape.
series. Hmm?
I think they bugging because in game one we have it on tape where Obi Toppin blew 3 to 4 defensive assignments, depending on the Kevin Love 3 that you saw. The 2 layups at the rim,
Hmm.
those are because Obi Toppin was the weak side defender and he missed. He's a weak side rim protection. When he pulled Mitch away from the rim, Obi is that guy that has to rotate down, and he didn't. He stayed at the free throw line, and Caleb Martin went baseline and dunked one and laid up another. That's Obi's responsibility, right? So
No,
for
I'm not arguing with you,
all
Freezy.
the
I'm just saying
points that no, I'm just saying.
some would say Randall would have did the same thing.
No, I'm talking to your Obi crowd. I'm not talking to you because I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm talking to your Obi crowd. The thing is about the box score. If you only look at the box score, it's only going to tell you finality. It's not going to tell you the series of events, like how you got to those points and rebound. All it's going to say is these are the results from the game.
Right.
Right. It's not going to show you like how Obi lost Kevin Love. We down by 2. Obi loses. Obi lost Kevin Love on the perimeter. Kevin Love on the perimeter. Kevin Love ain't blowing by nobody. Kevin Love knocks down the 3. They go back up by 5. Tibbs take Obi back out. Tibbs take Obi out the game. You don't see Obi again until game 2.
Yeah.
Right.
He went with RJ Barrett.
Yeah, I can't blame him, and I can't blame him for that because some of these things you've been playing in this system so long that you have to. Some of these things have to be second nature. Like when you and I get on the microphone, you can click the live button, and I'll just show up. I ain't got nothing. I'll just show up. But since it's a nothing but Knicks thing, shout out to Sam Russell and everybody in the Nothing But Knicks family, and everybody. You know what I'm saying? But when we click the thing and go on, you know what I'm saying, we have this second nature about how we rock. Right. You know what I'm saying? that some things it just comes natural. Obi
Right.
losing track of Kevin Love on the perimeter when you
Right.
know Kevin Love can't dribble.
Right.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on,
That's
y'all.
true.
You know what I'm saying? And listen, I know, and I'm not knocking Obi. Everybody is flawed. Julius Randle is lazy on closeouts.
Right.
Like he'll see a guy in the corner. He like, I ain't going. I'm just not going over there. I'm just not going over there. Right? Obi's thing is he has poor. Everything else, in my opinion, is good. Right? Like I think Obi is a great on-ball defender. I think Knicks universe don't give him credit for his on-ball defense. I think he is a great on-ball defender. His spatial awareness, though, is like he tipsy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody start moving. He like, oh snap, the room spinning. That's what Obi is like on team defense. You know what I'm saying? But everything else, man, I like Obi. I like the 3-point shot form. I think he came a long way in a short amount of time. Like Obi from 2 years ago to today in terms of 3-point shooting.
Right.
But I trust Obi. I think Obi's one of the better 3-point shooters in the league. It's just not going down because I don't think he get enough attempts. Right? He just don't get enough shots up. Right? But certain things, and it happens with athletes, man. Athletes depend so much on a God-given gifts that the thinking part of the game is not always there because they're like, oh, I'll just jump 6 feet in the air and block it, as opposed to preventing the play from the start with, so you don't have to jump 6 feet in the air.
Right.
So,
right.
That's what I would say to them, and also to the Obi fans. When I say give Randall his credit, I'm not saying take credit away from Obi.
Right.
Because when you give Randall credit, you don't have to discredit Obi. You know what I'm saying? Both of them play for the same team. They play for our Knicks. What we should be thinking ultimately, and this just to the Obi fans, right? To the Obi fans, don't think I'm throwing our guy under the bus, because both guys can be great in their roles at the same time for the same team. Both ideas can exist at the same time and on the same plane.
Yeah. Which is what I was about to say. You know, Randall is someone who creates for himself and others. Obi is somebody that has to be created for. And that's two big differences, you know, between the two of them. And, you know, thank goodness for RJ Barrett. You know, when Randall didn't play, you know, he took on more of that role of creating for himself and creating for others, which allowed Obi Toppin to stay in his role of being created for.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a move in game 1. I was like, yo, Obi, we need to see more of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Obi attacked. They kicked it out to Obi, and the ball and the defender got there at the same time. Obi attacked the closeout by putting the ball on the floor. Mm-hmm. The defense moved over. Obi hit him with a counter move, spinning back to the original point where he received the basketball, and then took his man off the dribble and did a spin move and laid it off the glass. I don't know how to describe it, but it was a totally instinctual basketball play from Obi. Right. And I wish we could get more of that from Obi. Like, Obi, get in your bag, bro. If you could do that right there, just off instinct, man, just do that. Obi, do it, man. But you scared Tibbs gonna pull you out the game? He gonna pull you out the game anyway.
Right. I think we've seen that a few times from Obi in the regular season as well.
Have we seen it consistently though?
No.
Yeah, that's
because on a lot of his shots, he's wide open.
Right. Well, that's true too. That's true. That's true. That's true. And a lot of those times he's wide open for a reason. Like maybe he missed the first two he took. But the thing I like about Obi is Obi keeps shooting. Yeah, right. Grimes, however,
shooting guard mentality in a power forward body. Shooting guard mentality. And
our shooting guard has a power forward mentality in a shooting guard body. Right. Which is odd. You know what I'm saying? You know what? That is, I think I might have to. You mind if I borrow that? Like we have a power forward with a shooting guard mentality, and then a shooting guard with a power. We might have to borrow that for like a show idea or something. One of these days, we have to talk about. What's the name of that movie with the daughter and the mom got switched? Like a Freaky Friday, maybe like a Freaky Friday thing,
right? Yeah. Because if you look at Obi's box scores, I don't care how many minutes he played. 10 minutes, 6 shots. 17 minutes, 11 shots. He
Right.
gonna put them up. I don't
Right.
care how many minutes, how limited they are. He gets his shots off.
Right. Right. And do you like that though?
I do. Because I think
Okay.
they're good shots. I don't get the sense that he's forcing them.
Okay. 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 Because you can watch Grimes play 37 minutes and it still might be 3 shots.
Right.
Or he might play 8 minutes and it's still 3 shots.
Right.
And you're like, well, what is Grimes looking at? Is Tibbs shackling him? I think that's part of it. I think that's part
You
of it.
think well, let me ask you a question. Is he not getting shots because he's not taking them or because they're not passing him the ball?
I think he touched the ball a lot.
Okay.
In my mind, I think he touched the ball. Now, RJ, they will legit ice RJ out. I've seen that. Like, they know, and Randall know if he passes to RJ, he ain't gonna see it no more. You know what I'm saying?
Kevin
Like, RJ gonna
McHale.
eat it. Yeah. like that old Shaq and Kobe commercial where Shaq wouldn't pass to Kobe because every time Kobe got it, Shaq would never see it again, and they went to Kobe's house and he had a closet full of basketballs. That's what it's like with RJ. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's like with. But the thing with I think Grimes, when you because at first I was like, yo, why would they jack out Grimes? And then when I look, I'm like, well, part of the time Grimes is not looking to touch it, but then when he gets it, he's looking to give it up. It's the same thing with Hart and the same thing with Mitch. So when you have Hart, Grimes, and Mitch on the floor at the same time, you really only have 2 offensive players out there.
Right.
Right. And that's Brunson and whoever's playing the 4. Right. And then if it's like some weird twist of fate where it's like no 4, is that if it's RJ, now it's all Jalen Brunson. Nobody else offensively is going to do anything. Yo, the chat is buzzing. I see. Hey, I see y'all comments, man. Shout out to the chat. The chat is out here, man, going crazy. Queen B,
I don't see the comments. So if somebody asks me a question or said anything, I don't see the comments. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Let me do this really quick. Danny Thomas, thank you for the generous contribution. A contribution from one of the channel members, Danny Thomas. He says, would you bring back Alec Burks for a bench role in the offseason? Yes.
Really?
I would consider it. I would consider it. I have to consider all my options first. But if Burks is the only Swiss Army knife option that's out there, I would consider it. But I'm also bringing back Josh Hart, and I'm also bringing back Quickly, and I'm bringing back Alec Burks in a lesser role, one that is where I can get his best 17 to 18 minutes a night. But I'm not bringing him back to be 32 minutes.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to channel my inner Keith Turner. Shout out to Keith Turner. I don't know if he's in the chat today. I'm going to channel my inner Keith Turner and say, there he is.
There he is. Look at that. Keith
Turner. I'm going to channel
my
my inner Keith Turner and say, we need to upgrade the 2 and the 3 spot. So we got enough players coming off the bench, because if we upgrade our 2 and the 3 spot, who's in the 2 and the 3 right now might be the ones going to the bench. We'll see in the offseason how this all plays out. RJ Barrett, with how he's playing in the playoffs, may have changed some things. We'll talk about it more in the offseason. But no, I'm not bringing back Burks because I feel like we got to upgrade our starting lineup, and those guys can go and play in the bench role.
Okay. I think Tibbs has tipped his hand.
Yeah.
Grimes, I think Tom Thibodeau has tipped his hand.
Yeah. But that doesn't help out with shooting, though, unless Hart is going to get him a shooting coach and come back and be not only a better shooter, but a more willing shooter.
That's his thing. He's got to be a more willing shooter. But the thing about Hart is I don't want to change him. I want him to be exactly who he is. I would just rather bring somebody else in that has that mentality already. You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to force Hart to be something that he otherwise is, or his natural self. I would rather bring in somebody that is a natural shooter. You know what I'm saying?
But it's Hart going to stay in the starting lineup, though. That's what I'm saying. If he's
That
going to
is a
stay in the
concern.
starting lineup, you got to shoot the ball.
You gotta, or see, but and that's the frustrating part of it because are you gonna force Josh Hart to do something that he's not comfortable doing?
Then he
And
has
why
to go
not?
back to the bench.
Or then why not do that to the others that have the same intent? Why not do it to Grimes and Mitch? Mitch, when you get this ball and you uncovered at the free throw, Mitch, if you Mitch, you
All
catch the
I'm
ball at the
saying
free
is,
throw line and he need.
all I'm saying is, with Mitch back there, to your earlier point, you got to have willing shooters, willing and able shooters
Right,
around Mitch.
right,
And this is a bam bam unit. You
right.
got Josh Hart there. You got RJ Barrett there.
Grimes, physical defender.
Right.
Yeah,
You got to have some shooters in that starting lineup. You have to.
and and here's the other thing too. I want to say to everybody in the chat. I'm super excited about where we are, and so when I point out these things, it's not that I'm pointing these things out because I'm a Knicks hater. I'm not, right? If we're looking solely at strategies for this playoff
Mhm.
series, and the strategies in this playoff series will definitely be different in the next playoff series. So while we say certain things about this series against the Heat, when we go up against Philly or Boston, whichever team advances, what we say strategically will be different. Say
Correct. Right.
against Boston, you may not want to shoot a bunch of threes because they're athletic enough to get out in the open court on your misses, and
Right.
before you know it, they're on a 6-0 run. Now you're down by 10. Now you got to shoot the three in order to catch up, and when you miss, they get out in the open floor, and then before you know it, you down 23
Right.
in the third quarter. Right? Things are snowball, and because with Boston, you'll look to put that thing on the floor and challenge Al Horford at the rim.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So keep in mind that we're just talking about, for the most part, talking strategy here. So Queen B, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Nah, I appreciate rocking with you. As always, the Just Nicking It show tonight, sometime between 9 and 9:30. So have your notifications on, and then we'll be back next week, on my, channel doing the same thing.
Talking about what outfits we're gonna wear in Boston. Yeah, so let me say this real quick. Thank you to everybody in the chat watching. Without y'all, none of this would be possible. We thank y'all for tuning in. Subscribe to the Queen Bee's channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. Make sure you check out the evening shows. The evening shows are fire. The evening shows are fire. I listen to them when I'm working and doing the writing and all of that stuff. Right. Um. Also, thank you for everybody that listens to Dope Soul Sports Talk on all the audio podcasts. For everybody listening that listens to NBA 360 New York Knicks basketball by Blorange Tears on all the audio podcasts, we appreciate the support. I think last week, the last week, I don't know how many of y'all did it, but we got like 300 downloads last week on the various shows and all that stuff. We can listen, continue to download, go to Queen Bee stuff and it's easy. Click the download button, open up your
Right.
app, open up your Spotify app, click download, listen to it at your leisure. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll get a file for it or whatever. You can listen to them and then they'll play back to back. Right. So
Right.
just go Spotify, whatever audio podcast thing that you got, whatever app, download all her joints right now. They'll download to your device, play them. All of them will play back to back to back to back to back. Same thing for NBA 360 New York Knicks basketball presented by Blorange Tears. Make sure y'all do that. We appreciate the continued support. The
No
audio
doubt.
podcast thing is overwhelming too. Every time, listen, I feel like I'm the J Boogie of the audio podcast thing, y'all. And thank y'all for helping me feel like, you know what I'm saying, like you know what I'm saying, like we actually doing something right. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Also there is one other thing. Oh, one other thing real quick. Support J Boogie on all that stuff. Check J Boogie out on all the audio podcast platforms and all that stuff. Queen B, chat, audio podcast, everybody that's listening everywhere. Thank y'all for coming out, man. Peace, y'all.
Jalen Brunson, welcome to New York.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, your dad was on the Knicks team that made the '99 finals. What would it mean to you to be part of a group that returns the franchise to that type of glory?
That mean a lot.
I gotta skip to my Lou. Don't it sound so beautiful? Yes. I'm on my Cardozo right here. Shout out to the greatest high school coach ever, Mr. Ron DeClario. That's him. This one here is for all the guards, the great guards from the city of New York. That's right. Ones that made it to the league, ones that didn't make it. I'm bringing back the point guards to the city where the legends are from. Right here in New York City. Right here. That playground, Rucker Park, New York City, where the handles are from. They come from New York City. That's right. Riverside Gauchos, sneakers making echoes. Skirt, skirt. Sneakers making echoes, oh no. We make music where we bouncing that ball. Don't be the one to get shook, slip down on the court and fall. Where I'm from, your ball handles had to be thorough. I show it off the boys and girls like the Wayne Pearl. The moves and odds from the crowd mean that boy sick. Really? I'm both-handed, go left, right like Rod Strickland. I don't care about your press traps, don't bother me. I'm coming to America like Greg the Boo Harvey. You know me, my talents be that. I put subs in that Volkswagen Jetta, pull off like Kenny Smith. They drive around park to park for that action. Mama, there go that man. I'm commentating like a Mark Jackson. Tell the truth, they know I'm hard to check. And see what Kenny Anderson did to Bobby Hurley down in Georgia Tech. We so ill on the court, they know it's scary. Even went back to Coney, recruited Stephon Marbury. That's how it is in the city, they know we go hard. That in and out pull back, that's that sham guard. I'm bringing back the point guards to the city where the legends are from. Right here in New York City. That playground, Rucker Park, New York City, where the handles are from. They come from New York City. The best. Riverside Gauchos, sneakers making echoes. Skirt, skirt. Sneakers making echoes, oh no. We make music where we bouncing that ball. Don't be the one to get shook, slip down on the court and fall. You want that marquee play, I bought him marquee, so let's kill the assumption. Little Rick, you know that's Jalen Brunson. They try to tell me I'm too small for the city. The tiny ultra ball with braids, that's right, I'm on my gritty. I'm making sure I bring the point guards back. You see the garden stay packed. Told Luca I ain't coming back. I'm in the city with fans, they got a lot of pride. And after games get feedback from War Clyde. I'll call up to any phone that's in the first verse. You can't be great without making sure you research. You can't tell me I'm point guard, he ain't working. It's that basketball version before the hustle, Mr. Pee Wee Kirkland. Better known as a Gatorade player back to back.